Hey art friends, in this video we're going to learn how to draw an underwater tiki scene. Here's a quick preview of how our drawings turned out at the very end. I hope you're really excited to follow along with me. Now for this lesson we're using a pencil just to draw the main shapes of our tikis. Then we're switching to our markers to add the details and also color. Now you can also pause the video during any part of this lesson if I'm going too fast, or if you just want to take extra time to add more things to your drawing. All right, let's start drawing. First, let's start with our pencil and draw the ground. And we're going to draw a curve across our paper, but towards the bottom. And don't worry about making these lines look perfect. It's okay if you go over it a couple times. You can even pause the video and take time to get this just the way you want it before you move on to the next step. Okay, now let's draw our first tiki statue. We're going to draw it coming out of the sand and tipped diagonal right here. I'm going to change this so it's not as tipped. And then we can use our eraser and erase any extra lines we don't want to keep. Then let's draw the top of this first tiki statue, and then down here we can just draw a little curved sand line. Yeah, now let's draw our other statue. We're going to draw it taller and tip the other direction. And draw the other side right next to it that matches. And let's also draw the top up here. And I'm drawing it curved so that it looks more 3D and round. There we go. That's all we need our pencil for. Just those main shapes for our tiki statues. Now let's switch to our marker and we can add the details. Let's first start with the coral and some rocks that are in front of these statues. Let's start right here and we can draw the bottom. So let's draw another little wiggly line for the sand. And then we're going to draw this really cool shape. Don't worry about making your drawing look exactly like mine. You can use your creativity and change it. So I'm going to curve out, then we'll curve around and just make this really cool coral shape. So we can draw a little branch coming out, maybe another one right here. I'm going to draw a smaller one. And then let's draw the top of the coral coming straight up. And then we can draw the other side of this branch of coral. And if I go too fast, or you just want extra time to add more things to your scene, you can pause the video. You can also rewind if you want to watch a step over again. There's our first coral. Now let's add even more over here. We can add some rocks. Let's start with one rock. We'll just draw it right here. And then we can draw more rocks behind it. I'm going to draw this curving in to that first rock. And we can also draw coral coming out of these rocks. So let's draw another shape that's similar to this, but we'll change it so that it doesn't look exactly the same. I'm going a little faster since we're just repeating that same step. And we can draw one more branch out here and then connect back into the rocks. Okay, let's add some seaweed. We can draw it coming out of this rock right here, and we'll just draw little plant shapes coming up out of the sand. And yeah, that looks cool. We can also draw a really big coral too. Let's draw a tall one right here. So we'll start on this side. And we'll draw the little branches coming out and getting really tall. And then we can draw the branches going down the side. Yeah, that looks awesome. I hope you're having a lot of fun and you're also changing your drawing, adding more things. You could add a lot of coral. You could even draw it behind the tiki statues, not just in front. Oh, let's add one more over here to balance it out. A little more. I'm going to draw it tall first, then a branch so that we get around this one. And then we'll draw the branch coming up higher. And then we can draw one more branch sticking out and then back in. And we could draw a little sand wiggly line for that coral to come out of. Let's add one more little group of seaweed sticking out of the sand. Right here, we could even add another row of seaweed or just little leaves coming out behind the other ones. This looks really cool. Let's switch to our eraser and erase any of the pencil lines that you can see going through the coral. This will help simplify our drawing so we don't get confused when we're drawing the statues. Now let's switch back to our marker and we can add the details for our statues. I'm going to draw and trace over the pencil line coming up on this left side, and I'm going to stop short here. Then we can also trace over the bottom little wiggly line. Oh, I forgot to erase through the seaweed here. That's okay, we'll just keep going. Then let's trace over this pencil line coming down. And let's draw a little top for the statue. So I'll draw a curve that matches kind of that top curve. Then let's come out past on each side. Then we'll come up and then connect. Yeah, that looks really cool. Okay, now let's draw the face for our first statue. I'm going to start here for the nose. We'll draw the bottom of the nose. Then we'll draw the side of the nose coming up and curving around for the eyebrow, and we can match on the other side. Let's make this tiki statue really happy. And there's the eyes, and then we can also draw the mouth. I'm going to curve and then add another curve that matches for the bottom of the mouth. And then we can connect the top down to the bottom on each side, and then let's add teeth. I'm going to draw a line down the middle and 2 lines on each side. Let's add one more detail. We can add little lines coming down on the top. There we go. There's our first statue. Let's now switch to our other statue over here and we can change it so it looks different. Let's first start by drawing the top. We can curve over the pencil. Then let's draw the sides coming down. Then I'm going to add little ears on this one. So we can draw the letter C and a backwards C for each ear. Then we'll come down further on the pencil lines. And then let's draw the bottom of this statue's head right there. Now for the rest of the body, we can start inside and then curve out to the pencil so that it adds a little change and it's not exactly the same as this one. And we'll keep going down and connect to the rocks. Now let's add more details to the face. We can draw a line across the top. And then let's draw the nose different. We're going to draw the bottom of the nose. Then we can draw the nostrils coming in. And then we can draw the side of the nose coming up and turning into the eyebrow on both sides. Then we could also make this statue really happy. And a big mouth. I'm going to draw a curve for the top and a matching curve for the bottom. And then just like we did over here, we'll connect down on both sides. And then let's add the teeth. A line down the middle and 2 on each side. We could also draw a little plant on top. That might and add two little leaves on top. And maybe there's some seaweed growing up there. Let's add one more detail. We got to add a fish friend. I'm going to draw the top of the fish. And then we can draw the bottom curving around. And we'll leave a little space here for the tail. And we can add a fin on the bottom and a fin on top. Then a side fin, a little eye, and a mouth. One last thing, we need to add the little line for the ground. We almost covered it all up because we have all of the coral and the statues, but we started with this big curve that went through everything and came out the other side over here. But we don't want to trace through the statues. And we finished our little tiki scene, except we still need to color it. This part I'll fast forward, but I want to challenge you guys to color your drawings. You can use my drawing as inspiration for yours, but also I want to challenge you to change yours. You can color any way you want. Now before you color it, switch to your eraser and erase any of the pencil lines you can still see. All right, we did it. We finished drawing and coloring our tiki scene. It looks so much better all colored in, and I hope you'll take time to color color your drawings too. I even added a background which I think completes the drawing. And you could change this any way you want. You could add more fish, you could even add more coral, plants, or even more tikis. And I hope you had a lot of fun following along and drawing with me, and we'll see you later, our friends. Goodbye.